Hello, House of Metamorphosis Tribe. Welcome back to the channel where we're talking about everything but the hair here at the House of Metamorphosis and beyond. How we are transforming our clients from the inside out, and how the inside of our clients, the internal landscape of our clients, is what is going to be at the forefront of change and the transformation of the hairdressing industry. And today I have a very, very juicy topic. I have the topic of the spell of glamour. Now, being a mystic, and quite openly speaking about being a mystic, been 30 years developing my inner gifts and coming into that mystical part of myself and being integrated in it and understanding what I bring to the table, and therefore understanding how the modality of spell work actually works in this world, in this matrix world. If we're looking at this whole subject of hairdressing from a energetic, a spiritual, an emotional, a beyond physical and internal landscape sort of lens, if we're looking at it through the holistic lens, where we're capturing the entirety of our clients in a whole picture, not just their heads and their hair, but the whole landscape. If we're looking at it like that, then creating illusionary haircuts and colors for our clients, which takes them outside of who they are. Now, there's a double-edged sword here, yeah? There's one side of it where there's inspiration that comes from giving a client something that's going to inspire them to reach their full potential. So it's not outside of their grasp, it's not outside of their line of meeting their authenticity. It is within their scope. It is within the bandwidth of their capabilities of achieving this authentic essence of them. So you being the creator, you being the guide, after having a conscious consultation with your client, is foreseen, a few steps ahead, knowing that your client is at that precipice already and they're starting to already walk that path. Let's use an example, because this might be a little convoluted, this language. Example, right? Client comes to you and they're totally obsessed with this new happening look on some actress or model or whatever, right? And they love the look. They love the look. And it's the look that they're after, but that they're showing you. The look that they're showing you is what they're after. But beyond that, like the psychology behind the look, which is something we look at in Evolve, the psychology behind that look is what is motivating them to want to look like that? This is a question that I find that if we're running an ethical salon, if we're running a salon with values, we're really running in alignment with, well, what is behind the inspiration for you wanting that look? We're not avoiding that question. We're really taking a look at it, because it is in our client's best interest that we align them with a color or a cut that is going to be congruent to their authenticity and their truth. That is us doing ethical work. If we take a client and we give them something that's grander than life, that is going to see them stepping outside of their authenticity and becoming a whole other person. And this happens, with actors and actresses and models. It happens with people that have those vocations. They are playing a role. So there is there's some spaciousness around that, about creating a character. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your everyday Mary, Bill, Bob, Frank, Joe. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your everyday client that comes to see you for an average haircut, a haircut and a color, and they want to be someone that they're not. They want to change their life. They want to change their persona. But yet the psychology, the internal work hasn't been done to meet the external reflection that they're asking for. Now, this is where trauma is caused, right? On a psychological level, if I'm bringing in the psychology behind what it is that we do, on a psychological level, this is where trauma is created. When you don't do your due diligence and you haven't done the internal conscious consultation to understand whether your client is able to carry this reflection, because it's quite a responsibility to carry an identity, and I'm going to place it in that because it's exactly what hairdressers do, is they create a persona and an identity for their clients. And if your client isn't psychologically prepared to carry that identity, hence another example, you misunderstand what a client's saying and you give them a haircut that completely meets your lens and your idea of what they're saying, and you haven't really grasped clarity and you're just going ahead egotistically, I may add, moving forward ahead and giving your client a haircut that you want them to have because it's going to make your salon and your name look good. But the client's not prepared to wear or to carry, right? Trauma. This is trauma. And the reason why I'm talking about this, besides being a therapist, is that I've had a lot of clients that have come to me that have had these experiences with hairdressers that have been extremely traumatized, because it wasn't just about the hair. It was about the psychology behind what the hairdresser pushed upon them to become, that they weren't psychologically prepared for. So it was a fight between how they were appearing in the world and how they were feeling on the inside of themselves, and there being an incongruent meeting point and them not being able to adjust their internal with their external at all. So again, we look at trauma and how trauma is caused in Evolve. And Evolve is a very important piece because it covers all of these psychological elements that we need to understand in order to upskill and upgrade our professionalism in understanding what it is that we do. So coming back to the spell of glamour. So when you give a client a haircut and color that is beyond their authentic identity, and they go out into the world pretending to be this person, having to put on the suit of this person, what you've created, and you are responsible for, what you've created is you've created a spell with your client. You've supported them, and this is spiritual dialogue. This is what goes on energetically. You have allowed your client to leave your space with the spell, creating a spell and invoking a spell. You've invoked a spell of illusion around your client. Now, this may trigger some hairdressers and saying, oh, but I'm an artist and I create art. Yeah, you create art, but we're looking at this through the holistic lens. And the holistic lens, it's not void of creating art, but it is void of creating illusion. It is void of creating illusion. And for too long, the hairdressing industry has been based on creating illusion, creating an elusive look for your clients to become someone that they're not, which I'm not even going to get into the psychology of how that affects their life down the path through relationships, relating, connecting with other people, connecting with their community, with their tribe, with like-minded people. It creates so much disturbance in their field. It's not funny. And then they wonder why they have all these experiences, because they're not aligned to their authentic truth. Now, you might have this desire as a client, have this desire to be Marilyn Monroe or to be Angelina Jolie or to be whatever, the idea, the illusion. That's also a spell That is so a spell. It's not funny. The whole movie star, sort of projection is a spell. So when we're looking at this, and we're looking at what we're creating and taking responsibility for what we're creating, it is imperative that we're looking at how we are contributing to the illusion of beauty, to the illusion of glamour. And now that we're stepping into this time, we're really stepping into this time, because the younger generation don't care about colors that are elusive. They don't care about it anymore. They're not spending the money and pretending to be someone that they're not, because they're actually coming through quite empowered and quite sure of who they are. And these are young people that I communicate with in my community, you know, up in the Northern Rivers, and I communicate with them and I relate with them. And they don't feel like they're insecure, and they don't feel like they need to become someone that they're not. They're quite confident being who they are, authentically, unwaxed, messy hair, you know, like hair as it is naturally. They don't style their hair, they don't wear makeup, they don't do any of those things. And this is the movement I believe that we're moving through because of the next generation that's coming through, and because they're going to want, they realize the currency of power is authenticity. I'm going to say this again. The currency of power is authenticity. And my question to you today, my tribe, is, are you standing in your power, and are you delivering reflections of authenticity to your clients? Are you being accountable for generating authentic reflections to your clients, and with them, working with them to bring out the best natural reflection of their authenticity through your creations, so that they may walk in the world resonating with like-minded people, congruent to their authentic self, and not mismatched or trying to be someone that they're not. And in therapy, we call that a split, creating a split in the psyche of a person. Another thing that you learn in Evolve, and how splits are created, more so how splits are created in hairdressers, and how hairdressers put on the hairdressing suit to go to work instead of actually just be themselves and just show up at work and just be whoever it is that you naturally are outside and inside of work. And this is what else we're healing in Evolve, because it's been going on for so long. So I ask you, to pose today with this question and consider, is your work spell work, or is it generating authenticity in your clients? And it's a really strong question to ask yourself, and it's going to take a lot of internal transformation to occur, to shape shift the way that you see your work and the lens in which you see your work, to change this dynamic that's going on in your business and it's going on with your clients. And if you want to actually become more authentic, how that can happen, how, the incremental neuropathway changes, where you can start changing your internal behavior to start meeting your authentic truth in your work as well as in your life. Yeah, I just feel like, this is a really big question, and it's not something I feel that hairdressers actually talk enough about and sort of brush under the carpet and really not look at and taking responsibility for what it is that we do create with our clients and what is its purpose. How is it affecting and inspiring the world around your client? Yeah, so I feel like I'm going to leave this here at this point, because I feel like that, there's a lot. This was a big chunk for you to take a look at. And if you're feeling inspired by this conversation, please like, this video and share this video with like-minded people that you feel may be inspired to help this channel grow and get this information out. And if you're even further inspired, please go to houseofmetamorphosis.au and check out the Evolve curriculum, the initiation program, self-mastery program, and all the juicy things that we've got there at the House of Metamorphosis website to support you in becoming a new internal, external, aligned, authentic version of yourself, and to help shape-shift your business to meet the future of the evolution of our industry. Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye.